I remember when we were strong. Back in the days before King Tenebrae and his royal guard, and the people of Amosran took up their own arms for fun and profit. Before all that, there was just us, the Viridian Outriders. We kept the roads and trails safe and secure, with homes and forts scattered about and locales civilized and not. Time passed, and we have been replaced. And yet, I hear the rumblings and murmurs of the roads being less safe than they had been. Monsters sniffing around in smaller towns and magic acting oddly. Who knows? Maybe we'll be needed again. Hello, and welcome back to Another Path. My name is Chase, and I remain your GM. Today, we return to our heroes right where we left them, releasing creatures that were once held captive by the exotic creature smuggler, Ballo Lynn. Thank you to our backers, Stark, Justin K., and Trent for their support. If you like what you hear, consider donating to us at patreon.com/ghostlightmedia, maybe even checking out a few of the other shows on the network. And with that, sit back, relax, and enjoy your trip down another path.
Here we go. I kind of hate that I can see myself. Is there a way to turn that off? Has anybody figured that out?
Right-click, show my camera.
Hell yeah.
Or if you change it to focus and then just never talk.
Also an option.
Now I just see a little old artsy Jackson. So there you go. That works out.
There it is.
Cute. Who's that? Who's Jackson?
Who's that Pokemon?
Okay, but for real though, so at the time of this recording, we are getting ready to announce our characters for episode 1, and you have no idea, Ryan, with the hints on Twitter, how much I wanted to already have art that we could silhouette.
Oh, it would be so great.
To do a Who's That Pokemon style reveal for our characters.
Look, we can still do it later. Like it's just audio descriptions until people see art. We can absolutely do that. Hey, Maddie. What are
Maddie,
you doing?
my girl, what's up? How's your weekends?
Are you
busy?
Are you in Colorado or Montana or Africa? We don't know.
Are you in Wales? Madagascar?
In Monstro, an actual whale.
Yeah. Are you full Geppetto right now?
My God, we never go the full Geppetto.
Yo, man, you ever been full on Geppetto?
Yes, actually. In high school, I played Geppetto in a production of Pinocchio.
You know, get drunk, make a wooden boy, and then get eaten by a whale.
Some people call that a Geppetto. I call that a Tuesday night.
Having a hot Geppetto summer, you know?
I have nothing more to add to that.
Okay, that just leaves the Mephits. Let's roll out to the pond, and then I think we can call this a job well done.
All right. As we're rolling out, I will bonus action convert sorcery points, so I'll get a spell slot back.
Cool. The three of you make your way out to the pond. It takes probably about half hour or so to get, from where you are to a secluded enough spot for you to feel comfortable. And there's a good number of caves. There's the water there. What do you do?
Can I ask you a question, Chase?
Please.
One of my artificer abilities for infusions, I have a magic item that I can produce.
Sure.
Technically, this happens at the end of a long rest when I make an infusion.
Okay.
But I feel like this is something Harper would have made before. Would you be okay if I used this to have my alchemy jug on hand?
Oh, sure.
Cool. So, Harper pulls this out of her bag. Pulls this those collapsible camping mugs.
Oh yeah.
It's like that it kind of goes and makes this tall cylindrical, almost thermos shaped jug that has a bunch of different corks on it on different sides. Because I know we've got a bit of a travel, I will lean down and whisper into the jug, "Beer, please." And I will. This thing will, over the next 2 minutes, produce 4 gallons of beer.
That's a lot of beer.
So,
always have an artificer on hand.
I'm just gonna pour us a couple drinks as we head out to Miller's Pond.
Harper is the wet bar.
I have a couple different things I can do with infusions, like soup up people's gear, but one of them is I can just reproduce a magic item. And so I have selected the alchemy jug as one of the things I can make.
Just as a side note, Arabin is going to politely decline the beer.
Noted.
It's just when I drink, the little voice in my head gets a little bit louder.
Yeah, no worries.
Is this a voice in your head that you like having or do not like having?
Could I get back to you on that?
Tell them. I don't know, I'm curious now.
This isn't the time.
Well, this thing can also make water too, so like, down the line we can just do some nice, it's like it comes out like ice cold. It's so refreshing.
Oh, that's boring.
This really isn't the time.
When is the time though, Arabin?
Never.
I know.
Arabin, do you have 2 voices in your head or just one?
Am I counting my own?
You don't count. Like other voices in your head. Is it 1 or is it 2?
Just 1 for now.
Okay, that's actually more concerning because if it was 2, there's been studies on this. A lot of people have 2 disparate voices in their head, right? They have the way they think, and then they have like the good them and then the bad them, right? And you have these 2 different voices on either side, and it's supposed to even you out and put the world into balance and all of these things. Just 1 voice in your head, though, that does, well, that would explain the magical prowess that you demonstrated back there. That does not come from many different places. The eldritch origin of your powers would lend itself to there being a single voice in your head. Is the voice trying to speak to us?
No, it's only to me.
Okay, that's good. Good.
And you say the good self and bad self. I think the good self may have died.
Oh, don't be so dramatic, Arabin. You know exactly where I come from. And I'm not internal.
Once I figure you out, I will control you.
Oh, that's what I like about you. Endless optimism.
I assume that all of that happens silently.
Yeah, that's in my head, but the amulet around my neck is glowing.
Oh, yeah.
That's interesting. Well, I don't know. I know that you've met Lenny. I don't know if you've gotten to spend much time not researching with Lenny, but he's got a great couch and he's a good listener.
I'm trying to research with him, but apparently calligraphy is more important to him.
It is very important to him. It's a lost art form in his eyes, penmanship makes the man. So he says, which is quite funny because he can't see it. Like he might say your penmanship's terrible, but he can't actually see it. Not very well.
Well, he's making me write before he helps me find what I need.
That's just a rite of passage. If he wasn't going to help you, he wouldn't make you write lines.
What is it that you need?
I just need to research. That's all.
All right.
Keeping them at arm's length. Interesting strategy. They could help.
Well, I know that, Cecil's got a lot of knowledge at their disposal, and I'm pretty savvy. Like, I'm more hands-on than, normally than having my head in a book, but, like, I know my way around a scroll and schematics and...
No disrespect, but I feel it's a little out of the range of Tinker Toys and Paper Pusher.
All right, well, you know where to find us if you ever change your mind.
I did take care of the corpse, by the way, just so we're all on the same page.
There was a corpse?
Arabin, you're not very good at this communicating thing, are you? This is what I'm learning today.
You said you ran him out of town!
I said he wouldn't be an issue anymore.
You could have been more clear.
Oh, man. So he's just dead?
Yes, he's quite dead now.
Well,
you know, I wouldn't chalk this up to a complete victory because we did kill a man.
yeah.
You said we were taking him to the basement. I thought that was subtext.
No, not in the slightest. Not at all. I thought you were just going to, like, kick him in the knees. He was going to fall down, and we were going to close it, cast some magic around it so he couldn't be heard, take care of the wagon, and then go get the Knight Commander, and the Knight Commander could make a decision about what to be done with Bao Lo. So he is still down there in the basement. He will be great fertilizer for some fresh teas I have in mind.
Well, just remember, I didn't deliver that killing blow.
I'm quite aware of what you forced us into this evening. But regardless, we are all in the same order now, and we have each other's backs one way or the other.
Yeah.
That's a promise.
Yeah.
That does sound like kill. Take him to the basement does sound like kill. Like, I'm just putting it out there. I'm not saying that, like, I wasn't there. I can't speak to it. I'm just like first blush, first instinct. I'm like, that does kind of sound like killing a murder.
To the basement. Basement like hell.
Like, take him out, and then, you know, like the basement where, you know, it's dark and no one else is around. Perfect place to do a murder.
I can hear it. Look, I hear it.
Yeah, no, like...
I hear it now.
I'm sure in the
hindsight,
moment,
yes.
like, you know, tensions were running high, adrenaline's pumping.
Sure. I've also realized that at the time it was said, Arabin was not aware that I literally had a basement.
Learn something new every day.
So I was being literal, and we are learning, and our communication improves.
I mean, it's our first job together. Like, there's going to be some growing pains.
And our last. I pray that we don't have to go kill people more.
Sure,
this has been quite the evening. I have a traumatized 17-year-old on my hands now.
I remember that life.
Anyway,
well,
Mephits and frogs.
Cheers.
No check required. You very quickly figure out that the only way you're going to get to where you're going is through the woods. It takes a few hours, but eventually you do find yourselves at the banks of Miller's Pond. It's quiet on the banks. It is a cloudless night. Stars shine in the air. The moon hangs. Yule ornament hung in a tree.
So how far away from Bering are we?
I would say
like a mile?
You're a good probably like 2 miles out of town at this point. You've got some distance. You can see it very clearly from where you are, but no one's overhearing you. Nobody can see you just by a casual glance.
Okay. But it's like 2 miles back through the forest, not on the other side of the pond.
Correct.
Okay. Well, Harper, you said you wanted to stash this somewhere?
If we can, I'd like the time to kind of take her apart and see what it's all about.
Can I make some sort of knowledge of the local landscape? Is there a drop cave? Is there a safe cave somewhere that the Outriders use?
Go ahead and make me history at advantage because you're looking in the local area.
I guess it would help if I was looking at my skills. History in the local area, 21.
Nice.
With advantage. I need the Dragon Age cave, right? That shows up 13 times and has a different layout.
Right.
But has like it's like the cave where we drop the supplies, or if somebody's on the run a little bit, or we need to hide somebody or something. Like, we don't use it often or ever, but it's here.
It's here. Yeah, absolutely. You can find that. Yeah, there is a cave not too far off from where you are right now. It's been years since anybody has needed to use it for Outrider purposes. But you know exactly where it is.
It's just down there a bit. I mean, we have to go over the gravelly bit and across the sand, but there's a little rock there outcropping. We can get around it and hide it a little bit more, so it's not visible across the lake.
Let's maybe let these critters out closer to the pond.
Sure.
And then we can move that thing over there. So yeah, I'll try to crack these cages.
Absolutely. Yeah, go ahead and roll that check again.
That's a 17.
Done. Who are you letting out first?
First we'll do the frogs.
So you let them out, and they look at you.
I feel like I'm doing just little concierge service things every time. I'm like, the door's that way. You're free to go.
And they like kind of like skitter. The hops on these guys, massive.
Holy shit.
Big ups from these like dog-sized frogs.
Dog frogs.
And they make for the water and kind of like burrow down in and nestle in, and they seem pretty happy.
Hell yeah.
That's great. There's no way they're native, but they are now.
For the Mephits, can we get this cage out of the wagon before we let him out? It feels a little safer that way.
Give me... What check would you like to make to get this cage out of there? Because they are not happy to be in there.
Can I use my Smith's tools?
How?
So let me ask this: how is it secured to the wagon? Is it like part of the internal structure? Is it like bolted to things? Like,
I'd say it's bolted.
Okay,
Could make that argument.
then I would try to basically undo any like fasteners.
Okay.
So that it becomes kind of freestanding, and then maybe call over to Arabin and be like, help me lug this thing out of here.
Okay, yeah, go for it. Roll me Smith's tools.
Smith's tools.
Also, does anybody know like these creatures' natural predator?
Mephits?
Yeah.
They don't really, I don't know, they're mud, so the sun?
I thought maybe I could scare them into calming down a bit.
I mean, hey, you worked with the death chicken, so I'm not going to stop you, really. Chase, do I know what the Mephits' natural predators are with my earlier Arcana check?
They don't, they don't really have one. You kind of nailed it right on the head. They're elementals. Nothing is eating elementals.
Yeah.
Let's
see, what's the opposite of mud? Steam?
Steam, any kind of heat, really.
Okay, so they're elementals.
Yeah.
Could I try speaking to them in Abyssal to see if they respond?
You could certainly try. Yeah.
Or just...
Give it a shot.
Okay, so I'm just going to say, do you understand me in Abyssal to them?
You get no response.
Then I'm going to try it in Celestial.
You similarly get no response.
All right, I'm out of ideas.
If you all would like to make either a history or arcana check.
Arcana checks across the board.
18 Arcana.
Okay.
I got a dirty 20 Arcana.
Okay.
17.
Okay, all of you would get this. You know that these are elemental creatures of different elemental planes. Your best guess would either be Terran or Aquan.
I do not speak elemental, so I don't think I'm going to be able to help here. Do either of you?
I know a fair amount of Dwarvish, but
it was honestly a long shot, but who knows what they speak.
I also speak the party language, Halfling.
Well, how many are there?
There are 3.
Right, well, we let them out and send them on their way, and if they fuck around, they will find out.
Go ahead and roll the
I have
Smith's tool.
rolled, yes. I have rolled a 12.
You are trying to work on the lock when the Mephit does lash out.
This is when Chase kills me with mud.
I don't think an 11 is going to hit your AC.
No.
So,
not this tin can.
Working on getting the cage unbolted from the interior of the wagon, and one of them reaches a hand out and just tries to slash at you, but you are a tin can as previously described, so it just hits your armor and makes it a little muddy.
God damn it. God, I'm done fucking with these things. I'm out. I'm walking out of the I gotta take a walk. I just have to, when just something pisses you off so much, you just have to remove yourself from the situation and just cool off. Harper just does a little walk, just like one of those, just a cool off walk.
Well,
get my heart rate back down.
Should I try to blast the lock open?
Hell.
Well, they seem to not be responding well to us. We can try and let them out again, and if they Look, sometimes beasts just need to be put down. I'm not thrilled about it, but...
To be fair, blasting the lock off was not a euphemism this time. I was genuinely talking about just trying to set them free.
We really do need to work on our communication a bit here. We are learning. All right. Well, you can stand back and let it happen. Blast the lock off and see what happens. Harper,
Yeah.
bring your pointy thing. We're going to try to open it from a distance, and if they fuck around, they will find out.
Okay.
Do you need a health potion?
Could I have taken a short rest on the wagon, Chase?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, let me roll one of my brilliant D8 hit dice. Oh, on the table, half health. Okay, that's 4 points back. Okay, I'm down 1. I'm fine with that.
Okay,
All right.
cool.
I'll come out. I'll get the shield back up. I don't have any of my spells back, but actually, fuck the spear. I'm gonna cast Magic Stone again and wake up some rocks and get them loaded in my sling.
Good call. Okay.
All right, once I'm standing a few feet back, I just go, here goes nothing. And I fire off an Eldritch Blast at the lock on the cage. Should I make a attack roll?
Yep, roll to hit that lock.
That is a 16.
That'll hit. Roll damage.
A 4.
The lock becomes bent and twisted. It shakes for just a moment before it ultimately does fall off. After a moment of the lock being off and the Mephits realizing they are not in immediate danger, one of them does broach the door and pushes it open with its weird little mud hand.
Fascinating creatures, really.
Yeah, it's much more fascinating once they're gone.
Oh, yeah, no, seconded.
And the three of them buzz up, and they're looking at you, Arabin and Cecil, both of you who are in there. How do you address them? What do you do? Because they get out of the cage and they hover there in the air, and they're just looking at the two of you.
I want to sort of show them my hand and say, you're free. We mean you no harm.
Go ahead and give me a persuasion check.
It's a 14.
With a 14, these creatures look at the two of you and then buzz out. Harper, you see these three things take off into the night in a flying V formation, into the sky, over the pond. Gone.
Harper, as they fly overhead, Harper's neck fully sinks down into her armor like a turtle.
Okay.
Just a.
I need to be honest with the both of you right now. I absolutely forgot they could fly.
We really didn't need to do that near the pond.
No, we did not.
Yeah, I super forgot. I mean, it made sense, mud and mud doesn't fly.
It absolutely does. I stand by our choice.
Yeah,
But it is getting late.
Mud don't fly.
It apparently does now.
Mm-hmm. All right,
the saying when mud flies.
Now the question remains, if we stash this wagon, what do we do with the horses?
We can ride the horses back into town. I'm sure someone can. It's hey, we found them on the road or something like that.
I think they just belong to the Outriders now. We can take them back to headquarters.
Yeah, we can common horse them.
Question to Chase?
Yeah.
How noticeable are these horses? Are they just regular horses?
Yeah, they're just horses.
Okay.
It's just a couple of guys.
Yeah.
Just a couple of wild, crazy guys.
Just making sure we didn't ride in and they're hey, we saw those horses leave.
Here, I got a plan. You ready? I take one Are they saddled?
They are harnessed. They are not saddled for riding, but they are harnessed up.
We'll switch the harnesses. That way, brand new horses, basically.
That's absolutely how that works, yes.
Genius.
That's filing off the serial numbers on that.
Yeah, the Major Domo, I'm sure, will be pleased to have a few more horses at our disposal for whatever we may need to do. I think also that having 2 more horses will go a long way to smooth over the murder.
Yeah, -1 random merchant plus 2 horses. That's easy math.
Seems like a decent day for the Outriders. Yes.
They gotta ride something.
Wonder if I'll have to notarize paperwork about the man I murdered.
We could just not tell anyone.
I mean, a bunch of people did see Ballo Lynn ride out of town on his wagon that he came in on.
Well, I definitely impersonated the night captain this evening en route to this murder. So I will be telling the night captain that I impersonated the night captain because they need to maintain that cover for the town guard.
Right.
That's
Okay.
fair.
It'll all be in the report. I'll write it all up. I know neither of you want to or will, but I enjoy it, so that's fine.
Oh, no, I love a good report.
Oh, would you like to do the addendum?
I'd love to. I gotta keep myself occupied with something while, the everything like casts and sets.
So we take the 2 horses. We go back to Bering. It's stupid late at this point, I imagine.
Oh, yeah,
so
it is dead of night by the time you get back.
So we just hitch the horses up. I'm going to get up early, have some tea, and I'll finish the report in the morning, and I'll meet you all over there around, 9:30, 10 or so. We'll take the horses. We'll figure it all out in the morning. Does that work?
Sure, yeah. I mean, my quarters are at the crypt, so...
Fair. Yes, true.
You can find me there.
The 3 of you part ways. Well, Cecil, you part ways. I believe, Arobin, you probably live at the crypt as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say just briefly before Harper and Arobin kind of go off to their respective rooms or whatever, I would just kind of stop and, I can't put a hand on your shoulder because I'm 3 feet tall, but I do the halfling sleeve grab, and just say hey, we've all done stuff that we're not the most proud of. You're not alone in that.
I'm not ashamed of anything I did today.
I'm not saying today. I'm just saying in general.
Sure.
Have a good
I appreciate it, Harper. Unfortunately, not the first man I've killed, and likely not the last. Not in this line of work. I much prefer the papers. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too.
It's well past midnight by the time you part ways. There's a handful of guards wandering around town, making sure that everything is all right, but you're all regular enough around here. They pay you no mind. Cecil, you make your way back to the Steeping Scrolls, to your apartment above the shop itself. Katie has gone home, and actually, I meant to ask this earlier. What is Katie's home life and home situation like?
I don't want to call it a halfway house, but I think it's one of those kinds of situations. If there's enough teenagers in the town that they have a place kind of together, and there's probably someone from the town or from the Outriders who kind of watches them and kind of lives with them.
Kind of like an oldest kid in the orphanage situation.
Yeah, like oldest kid in the orphanage, but I do think there's other teenagers there too.
Sure.
There's probably 3, right?
Right.
But the town's only so big. But I think they kind of they're well taken care of, right? They get to kind of learn how to live on their own earlier than they wanted, but here we are.
Sure. You walk into an empty tea shop.
I go inside and shut the door and ritually cast alarm, which looks, from a ritual standpoint, looks a lot like somebody locking a door and turning off the neon.
Yes.
You've got a little, what's it called? A little pull string box. And the box doesn't really have much, but that is the material component to set alarm for the building.
Yes, it alarms the building. The lights go out, and Cecil lives upstairs. There's an upstairs apartment type situation. It's not huge, but it's a couple rooms, and he just kind of walks through the tea shop and does cursory glance of closing and just is ready to go upstairs and pass out.
Sure. And Arobin. What does Arobin's nightly ritual look like?
I think at this point, he's just, if he has anything from the library or anything that he's trying to learn about, he would look through that otherwise, he has a note from his brother that he's had for years, and he sort of just always has that with him.
Mm-hmm.
So not every night, but he'll look at it from time to time, as to not forget what he's trying to do.
The note is old at this point. The edges of it are flaking. I can't imagine there's much more in your life that you are more delicate with than this ragged piece of paper that is around your armor and all of the rough things in your life. But this one small, delicate thing in your hands, there's a weight to it for how light it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of like the one thing that he has of his former life. Because I'm sure whenever he does sleep, he's just having nonstop nightmares.
It's not great. It's not great. You gave up a lot to go on this particular journey.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not you realized you would be giving up that much or what giving it up would mean is another thing entirely. But here you are, and you've been worse places.
Yeah, but he just saw what picking up that amulet was just the next step in what he thought he needed to do, but he did not know what was coming.
Do you know what that letter says?
Yeah, it was just a note to me from him after we had started running our sort of con that we were running from town to town. Just letting me know that he was proud of me and that there's no one he'd rather be working with and making money with.
The bad dreams don't start for a while. They come. But it takes a while. Harper, I imagine Harper just falls asleep working on their latest invention.
Yeah. It's almost done. There's like a piece that it's not a mechanical piece, it's like a magical piece that I'm missing. Lady Meredith has talked a lot about
Seeker Meredith.
Yeah, but like I think Harper started calling her that. Like she has tried to get Harper to stop calling her Lady Meredith, and it has not stuck.
For sure.
But Meredith has talked a lot about things in the world having like an inner fire. And that's kind of what Harper awakens when tinkering and bringing things to having a greater property and potential. And I have been trying to get this thing to wake the fuck up, and it hasn't yet. So I'm poking and prodding and trying every trick in the book that I can think of before I probably just conk out on top of this thing, this heap of metal.
That sounds right. The night passes and you all wake up feeling
rest.
Yes.
Chrissy, wake up.
Oh boy.
I don't like this.
I don't like this. I don't want it. I don't like it. Get out of here.
Chase.
Get out of here, Greenlee.
That was really, really well done.
Thank you very much.
You all wake up in your time. Cecil, I imagine you're a pretty early riser. You probably beat the sun up every day just to get the shop open for the breakfast rush.
Yep, we get the shop open for the breakfast rush. The morning scones get delivered, and we get everything ready to go. But this morning, Cecil has delegated all of this and is actually frantically scribbling away to make sure that he gets the best descriptions written down of last night's events to be included in the current chapter of Bearing a Brief History that he is writing.
Excellent.
It's never been published because he just keeps adding to it. A less brief history each time.
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be the final title is just after brief. There's just going to be a question mark in parentheses. A brief history of Bearing.
Bearing a brief.
We are a bag of squirrels tonight. I don't know what's in the water, but it's everywhere.
It's that level up juice.
It's that level up juice.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a second. Arabin, How does the morning find you?
Morning finds him the same as it always does.
Mm-hmm.
He wakes up. He's glad to see the sun. He thinks about yesterday, and he feels that was just a job well done.
Uh-huh. Absolutely.
He thinks things could not have gone better.
That sounds about right. Harper, you wake up in a tangle of metal.
Oh, wipe the drool away from my mouth. I'm like sweaty in weird places and just like drool like stuck to my like dried on my side of my face.
There is the barest little bit of a rust spot from where you drooled onto.
Oh.
I do that thing where I go to like wipe my like face, like run my hands down my face, and unbeknownst to me, I just smear soot across my face, like I'm getting ready for war. And I just take my like maker's apron off, and I just go into the canteen for some coffee. I look like a fucking mess.
Man, Harper nasty.
This is not the first time people have seen Harper like this.
Oh no,
this is not the first time this has happened.
I imagine Harper's kind of a late riser too.
Yeah.
So, like, everyone is fully in there, like, well into breakfast. And some are done and just, like, sipping on coffee, waiting for the day to fully start. And you just kind of roll in, not in jams, but, like, very clearly in yesterday's clothes.
Yeah, like overalls with one of the things undone. Like, oblivious to the world, just like a morning, y'all.
Morning.
Oh.
It's always brunch, depending on when you wake up.
The day, pretty quickly, you get into mid-morning, and each of you receives a notice. Depending on how close the two of you are in the actual, in the crypt itself, Arobin and Harper, the two of you do hear a bit of a commotion.
Like argument commotion or like scuffle commotion?
Raised voices.
Okay.
And then you see a now familiar white blur dart out, stop, and then would wheel around to the two of you. And it's Archaea. Hey, gotta get back into it.
You went full Gary there.
I did. Well, no. Here's what it is.
That was Buster Brown.
I've been watching Unsleeping City, so I've got all of the Brennan Lee Mulligan New York accents like right here, right now, and that's hey yo, it's Gary the Fairy Dragon. No, the High Captains would like a word with us. I'm gonna go and get Cecil. We'll be back in a few. You can wait for me. I may have said too much too soon about last night's events.
Okay.
My bad. I didn't quite navigate the social order quite.
Why did the High Captain call for you first and not us?
I may have volunteered and showed up. I'm very grateful.
Okay. All right. Okay. Sure. I put down my alchemy jug. I've been trying to tinker it so it will produce coffee. I have not yet been successful.
That didn't sound like congratulations to me.
No, it did not.
Moments later, in Cecil's steeping scrolls, a white blur appears near the top of a shelf. Cecil, you pick up on it pretty quick, but it has so far gone unnoticed by Katie or any of the other individuals within the actual business itself. It kind of scurries down to you.
Yeah.
Hi, Captain, would like a word?
You know, I wondered when that would be. If it's this morning, that's fine. Let me just make sure Katie's good here, and I'll head on over.
Right, I'm gonna take the back door. And he bips out.
Right, sounds good. Katie, I've got to go outrider business.
Oh. Okay.
Bye.
Bye. She is. The last time you said, no insight check required. The last time you said outrider business, there was a corpse within the basement less than 12 hours later.
Yes, there was.
Didn't.
So, hey, Katie.
Yeah.
Maybe you can get one of your friends to come help bus today.
Oh, yeah. You know, Ava's been looking for a little bit of extra work. All right, I'll bring Ava by.
Ava's fine. Sounds good to me. I'll be back in a bit. I go out the back door, where I find Harkia. Harkia, you need to see this too, just so we're on the same page. And we go to the basement.
Mm-hmm.
And I look. I need to make a corpse check.
Sure.
To ensure it's decomposing and make sure we're on our way here.
Sure. Give me a medicine check.
That works. Medicine is a 16.
With a 16, you wouldn't be seeing a whole lot of movement in that direction quite yet, but the signs are there that things are starting.
I look over at Harkia and say, so this is obviously the corpse.
Yeah.
This is where this ended
Right.
up. Well, I'm sure we're going to have to explain all of this, but that's fine. It's good for it to be known, but I do want to speed this up just in case.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to do some magic.
Yeah.
I'm going to... I pull my arms into the opposite sleeves and very slowly drag my fingers down my forearms, and one of my forearms starts to bleed just a little bit, and I cast Wither and Bloom.
Okay.
Which is a Strixhaven spell, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I invoke death and life in a 10-foot radius sphere centered on a point. Necrotic damage happens. Basically, it's necrotic damage, and I can kind of determine how much decomposing there is, how much withering there is. Parts of it can wither, and the other parts of it can bloom. So I'm hoping that I can force the corpse to decompose while also allowing the tea to bloom a little bit more.
Sure.
So I am casting a second level spell for this.
Sure.
I'm using a AoE attack spell for something that's very much not that. So
sure.
GM discretion here.
Okay.
GM discretion is advised.
So the actual text of it states that like all of the vegetation in an area withers. You can spend hit die to regain points equal to spellcasting modifier, yada, yada, yada. What I'm going to read that as is you are essentially like, instead of taking that yourself, you are passing that boon on to what plant life is left in that particular trough.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I want to do. So
yeah,
it's not worded quite like that, but I figured it was close enough.
Look, the title of the spell is right on point, and like I'm going to go with the short text over the long text, you know, if I'm given the opportunity, except for Chill Touch, which I will maintain is the worst named spell in all of Dungeons and Dragons. It's not a touch spell, and it doesn't deal cold damage.
Preach, Greenlee.
One of those things should be true. One. Just one. I'm fine either way, but just one of them should be true.
It could be called Icky Sticky Skelly Hand, and it could be a better spell.
The bad sticky hand. Like the ones you'd get at like a Chuck E. Cheese, where it's like you'd flip them and then it would like stick onto stuff, except it would like break after 3 uses and it would be immediately covered in hair.
That's a better spell.
If it was called Icky Sticky Skelly Hand, then I would never use any other spell.
You know
I
what?
think that's the point.
J-Man, you raise a really good point.
Why would you do anything else?
Wizards of the Coast, I'm hireable.
You want to fight? Thwip?
Excuse me. I need to stop the podcast right now to spend the entire night writing a Chuck E. Cheese themed supplement to D&D.
Oh,
Chase, that's the new Duodecamus.
look, it's not that hard for us to write a one-off in a Chuck E. Cheese where we've got to fight living animatronics.
We have a lot of podcasts left to go, Ryan. Don't go speaking things into existence if you don't want to live them.
Dungeons and Dragons FNAF Edition.
I don't.
6 Nights at Greenlee's.
I don't know what season 4 Drug Bugs is, but if it is evil Chuck E. Cheese, that seems right.
The Rat King. Don't
bank that idea. Put it away.
We accidentally go to Mechanus, and it's very bad.
Oh no!
I'm just writing all of this down.
It's just
That's
full of
good.
fucked up Modrons.
The Rat King.
Is Chuck E. Cheese a
Mechanus.
Modron? Is Chuck E. Cheese a Modron?
No, not at all. And actually, those two things can't coexist because Charles Entertainment Cheese is an agent of chaos, and that is a plain of law.
Yeah, you're right.
That would explain why everything's going wrong, though.
Look, I have thoughts. There are gears turning. That is not tonight's adventure, though.
No, right now, actually, Chase, I need you to describe how my second level Wither and Bloom spell does, in fact, allow me to Sweeney Todd better.
So, you cast this spell. You can see crawling across Balolin's body. His veins fill with the soil that surrounds him. It's as if the body is reaching out for anything, and it is taking in the world around it. And you see that the body does deflate and crinkle in a bit. Harkia is taken aback by this. Oh, you don't really fuck around, do you?
No, I don't fuck around. Take that multiple ways. But also, this is very bad. Could be very bad. And I'm trying my best to fix it.
Yeah, no, I got the impression that this is not standard operating procedure when I mentioned it to the High Captain.
No, it's not. Not in the slightest. In fact, Harkia, it's not usually what's done. Do you know when the last time someone died within the town limits of Bering?
Well, by outrider hands, according to the High Captain, it's been about 11 years.
Yes, it has been 11 years. I'm glad he remembers his history. That's very good. Anyway...
Well, you were the one to do it.
That's not the point. The point is, when messes are made, someone must clean them up. And if that's me, that's me. I've done it before, I'll do it again.
Right, well...
Let's go. We probably shouldn't keep them waiting much longer. Could you help me? Never. You're quite wee. Never mind.
There's not a whole lot. Like, I've got some magic, but
we kind of shovel and rake it back in and bury it and do our best.
He lands in the dirt and does the cat back kick to fill in the soil.
Perfect. Gets it right up the nose.
Thank you for joining us here on Another Path. You can find our website and merch store at anotherpathpodcast.com, on Twitter at anotherpathpod, and our network at ghostlightmedia.net. You can support our efforts by donating at patreon.com/ghostlightmedia, or by giving us a rating and review over on Apple Podcasts or whatever podcatcher will let you. You can find me on Twitter at TQLoudly, Griffin at Griffcold, and Ryan at RyanRolled20. You can find Justin on TikTok at JustinMichael, and myself at TQ Loudly. We'll be back in 2 weeks with a new episode, and until then... Okay, guys, so I've had some time to think about it, and I went to Twitter, and, some people had some really good points on there. So what I've come down on is that while Charles Entertainment Cheese is more of a Feywild entity, the actual animatronics, those are from Mechanus. Though, they can only do the one thing. They can only do exactly what they're told. There's nothing more orderly than that. So, yeah, that's what I'm landing on. This has been a Ghostlight Media production.